You can use this technique for any subject to memorize large chunks of information in a short span of time. Create an A-star essay on the spot. You'll realize that during the exam, points just come and flow a lot quicker because the way you revise is I was also able to write very long, high-quality essays due to this technique because Hello everyone, it's Faye and welcome back to my channel. If you enjoy vlogs and videos about art, academics, and lifestyle, then feel free to subscribe. So I'm from Malaysia and we have an education system that unfortunately does not allow much room for critical thinking. What I mean by this is that students literally depend on the ability to memorize textbooks and marking schemes from past year papers to score well in their exams. And I just finished A-levels and it's not that different. There isn't much wiggle room when it comes to answers. So 13 years of being in a rigid education system has kind of forced me to construct this technique that allows me to memorize large chunks of information in a short span of time. You can use this technique for any subject. For science, no-brainer, it helps you memorize facts and definitions very accurately, while for languages and economics, this technique has allowed me to memorize countless essay templates and essay plans to the point where during the exam, I can just pick and choose the various points and phrases that I remember and create an A-star essay on the spot. A small disclaimer before I start, I'm not going to sit here and say that memorization is the only thing you have to do to ace your exams. That's not true at all. You have to understand the material. It's close to impossible or just very difficult to remember large chunks of information that you don't understand. Even if you're able to memorize it, you can't really use it in the exam because you don't fully understand or grasp the concept. However, it does help a lot to have the ability to grasp and remember concepts fast. So I call this technique ask and answer. First, let's use the textbook to demonstrate this technique. Here's a timestamp of me using an essay as an example. Let's bring out 2 pages from my biology textbook. As you are reading the page, highlight or underline everything that you want to memorize. Now, form a question for each section that you have marked. Get a piece of paper and write down all the questions that you have just formed for each section that you want to memorize. I've just finished a small section of the page which is talking about chronic bronchitis. And instead of just asking yourself what is chronic bronchitis and trying to list down all the points, do it like this. So it says tar and cigarette smoke stimulates global cells, inhibits cleaning action, destroys many cilia. So one of the questions that you can form is what does tar and cigarette smoke cause? And as a result, what happens? So that's your second question. Your third question can be what stimulates smokers' cough? And your fourth question can be, what does smokers' cough cause? And this is the answer. So in this small, tiny part alone, you can form so many questions and you have to do that for the entire thing and transfer it onto a plain piece of paper. So this is just me giving an example. Here's another example. I just collected all the definitions that I found in the textbook and now you can form questions out of it like what is active transport, what is facilitated diffusion, and etc. Write the page number next to it. Do this for every single page of the chapter and textbook. Feel free to write little hints at the side of the page. Obviously, in a real setting, this entire paper will be filled up, but this is just an example that I wanted to show. If you want to memorize something that is lengthy, draw up a small diagram or flowchart and stick it onto the page. It doesn't have to be pretty, we aren't looking for aesthetics here. Now, if you think about it, this is exactly the format of an exam. They take material from your textbook, make questions out of it, and ask you to answer. Chances are, if you can think of the question, there's a small probability that it will come up for your exam. Test yourself using these summary questions before each study session for that particular subject. If you stutter or struggle at answering a question, only return and read that page of the chapter. That's why we wrote the page number at the side. Don't take things for granted and abandon these questions once you're very familiar with the material. Feel free to space out your revision sessions, but don't abandon these questions. I'm sure you've all heard about the effectiveness of active recall for revision, and this is what we are trying to achieve here. Here's an example of me using my secondary history textbook. It is in Bahasa Melayu. I highlighted and underlined the key points, stuck flowcharts and short summaries on the pages. I then formed questions for each phrase and put them all onto a piece of paper. By the time exam rolled around, I could basically recite my entire history book. Next, let's use my A-level economics essay as an example. I have taken a book which is a compilation of all model essays for past year essay questions and wrote essay templates for each of them. Instead of following the flow of an essay, I'll write down the main points it covered. If two or more essays have similar points, I'll just write the different questions on top of the page and remember that these questions have similar answers. Then I'll write all the questions on a piece of paper. After actively recalling the information so many times and after doing practice essays, which are very important, you realize that during the exam, points just come and flow a lot quicker because the way you revise is literally using so many essay questions and answering them over and over again. This is slightly different from flashcards because I feel that flashcards are only effective for remembering small chunks of information like definitions or little facts here and there, and the purpose of flashcards are defeated if you write lengthy stuff on them. Also, the main thing is I want what I'm revising to be directly from the source itself, like the pages of a textbook. By repeatedly looking at and actively recalling the information on the pages of the textbook or model essays, you only remember the most accurate information and facts. I remember in high school or secondary school, my teacher used to say that my essay paper was basically the marking scheme. I was also able to write very long, high quality essays due to this technique because, like I said, when you're practicing using essay questions, points just flow a lot quicker. If you made it this far, let me know down below what is your favorite revision or memorization technique, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye bye.